Part-Time News Network. This is episode 1. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
If you're a viewer of the Part-Time Podcast, you'll notice that we've donned a little bit more, what would we call this? Formal apparel.
I call it a tie.
We're newsmen. Yeah. That's what I call it. We'll add a sound effect, like a news sticker.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right now.
There it is.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. Welcome to the Part-Time News Network. This is going to be our once-a-week Thursday show, 10 minutes to talk about all of your news and entertainment, news in pop culture, nerdy stuff. It's very similar to the, weirdly similar to the Part-Time Podcast primary episodes that we record, in that we'll just talk about whatever we want, but it'll be news and current events focused. Does that sound right?
Yes, exactly.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very good synopsis.
Hey, I'm good for something around here. Hit us. What are we talking about today on the Part-Time News Network?
Story number 1, Pee Wee Herman. Paul Rubens.
Pee Wee Herman?
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Herman.
I guess I looked at his last name.
That's okay.
Yeah. With not mixing those things, Pee Wee Herman, a.k.a. Paul Rubens, is that his name? I didn't actually know his name. He passed away after a private battle with cancer.
Yes, I'm told for 5 or 6 years, actually. Kind of was a Chadwick Boseman sort of situation where no one really knew. Or so I'm told. Obviously, he's a little less high profile than Chadwick Boseman was at the time, obviously, because they were planning a Black Panther 2 at the time.
Right.
So that probably came as a little more of a shock. Pee Wee Herman's been out of the public eye for a little while. But yeah, again, very private battle. Condolences to his family. So Pee Wee Herman, for those of you who don't know, or probably do know, he started as a kind of an improv comedian kind of guy, and he developed this Pee Wee Herman character with an improv group, and it was not for kids. Like, it was an actual, like...
I still don't think it was always for kids.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that here in a second. But the character was begun as a childlike character, but in a, kind of an adult-centric improv group, moved to Saturday Night Live, late night television, a lot of innuendo, but, in that kind of childlike vein. And what ended up happening was Tim Burton directed a movie called Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is probably his most famous work, in 1986. No, I'm sorry, 85. And in 86, they syndicated a television show for children, like a Saturday cartoon. Did you ever see it?
I did. I think that's primarily where I was first introduced to Pee Wee Herman, and then backwards went through.
I see.
Yeah, so what you just described, going to the show, I went from the show backwards and then realized this isn't really wholesome.
pretty much spot on. The show was called Pee-wee's Playhouse, and even now, like, as an adult, I watch it and I think, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, there were, because, at the time, children's cartoons, think about Sesame Street, as popular as it was. And instead, you had, like, Pee Wee Herman in his, like, talking chair, and the chair tickled you when you sat in it.
Come sit on me.
That was weird.
Yeah.
100%. And this guy, like, the thing we could say about Pee Wee Herman, I think, is that he was definitely one of these, like, auteur artist kind of guys. Like, he had a very unique vision for what this was going to be. And it kind of seems like networks were just like, okay.
Right.
Do it.
Right.
Very oddball kind of, people would call it screwball comedy. And, like, he would even prompt, I don't know if you remember this, but, like, there were times when he'd be like, today's secret word is elephant. And when I say elephant, scream as loud as you can. So, like, parents, there were stories of, like, parents, like, running into rooms like, what's wrong? And the kids were like, he said the word. Like,
right.
It was very, like, anarchy on television. He had a public fall from grace in the 90s. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that.
No. I know the guy that owns that car from, I think it was from the movie.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
That's, like, you still know him?
Yeah, it was a client of mine. I went
What?
and worked for him, and he's like, yeah, I've got the car. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah.
Is he a memorabilia collector?
I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I did one job for him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We should talk to him.
Okay.
Have him bring the car right here.
It won't fit?
I'm just kidding. All right, what else are we talking about?
Loki Season 2 trailer dropped.
Yes. You've seen it?
Yeah, I watched it literally before we started recording.
Wild. What'd you think?
Nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna out myself here.
That's kind of my view for Marvel in general nowadays.
I thoroughly agree with. I think we have a very similar take on current Marvel.
Right.
But Loki, to me, was just like the one thing they did recently, with the exclusion of a few wokeisms thrown in. I mean, it kind of hit for me. I really liked the vibe, the design, like the set design. The soundtrack was excellent. And it's kind of cool, like, because Loki has been presented. I mean, he was the villain of the original Avengers film. Like, he's been one of their big bads, if you will.
Right.
And it was a really cool spin to have him thrown into a world he didn't really fully understand, whilst maintaining a sense of arrogance.
Right.
But also, like, he's a little out of his depth, but it's also, like, the perfect foil for him was, one, Owen Wilson, and two, like, the entire setting where he's like, I don't really... Like, he's having to come to grips with what is even happening, and then throwing him into kind of a co-investigator role, like buddy cop style. I don't know. I thought Loki was like a 75% hit for me. And Loki 2, based on the trailer, same creepy, weird music, same sort of what's the mystery here? Like, he's time slipping and falling through time. And big one here, Jonathan Majors appears at the end. Jonathan Majors...
I mean, okay. Big whoop.
Well, it's not that he appears; it's that of his, his recent legal trouble and stuff.
I forgot about all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay. I'm not surprised. Ezra Miller they still released the Flash and all that stuff.
That's true.
Like, Hollywood's going to do what Hollywood wants to do, regardless of what the actors are doing anymore.
Mm-hmm. I just thought that they might recast, and it turns out he's in there.
He's been in too many. He's too big to let go now.
You think so?
Well, I mean, regardless of, like, murdering a bunch of people, probably not. But I mean,
But if it's just like allegations, you think they just leave him?
Yeah. Yeah. They may not be like, oh, put him in the spotlight per se, like for advertising. But as far as being in things that they've already recorded, they're still going to release those things.
Right. Disney Plus does a little bit of a behind the scenes. They call it Assembled for a lot of their movies. It's like a 45-minute special on behind the scenes of each of their movies.
Right.
So Miss Marvel Assembled or whatever.
Yeah.
They did one for Ant-Man Quantumania.
Terrible.
And agreed. However, this was released well after his,
fall from grace
issues there. Yeah. And he does feature, not prominently, but there's like a 5-minute segment about him toward the end that they did leave in there. So kind of just like a subtle nod of, good faith to keeping him around for the MCU.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're going to base an entire film around his character with the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with, like, the character of Kane, but I have a problem with what direction they're taking it in.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue really that the best part of Loki is just Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's it.
Yep. Easily agreed. And I think, like I said, Owen Wilson, I think, was a cool addition. All right. Next up, and we'll just hit on
box office update.
Let's wait on that 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Just to confirm, because we talked about it on one of our previous episodes.
Yeah.
There was news that Dune 2 might be delayed due to the actor and writer strike. And a recent trailer dropped, the final trailer for the film, if you will, and it confirms in big letters, this year... ... Perfect. So, yeah, looking at I think it's a November 3rd date for Dune 2. Excited about that. But yeah, let's get to our last news story.
And we'll have to go quick because we only have a minute left.
Oh.
Well, we had a little introduction time, so maybe we'll go just over 10 minutes. The box office update. Barbie and Oppenheimer both hold strong at box office last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped 40%, but still 93 million and 46 million respectively.
Yes. So still not bad. Overperforming, I think, second weekend expectations for both of those films. I've seen neither, but I really did expect a bigger fall for Barbie based on poor word of mouth. I heard a lot of people, it wasn't the film they thought it was going to be.
Right.
But it turns out maybe that controversy drives people to the theater. People were like, I've got to check this out. Like, why is...
There were a lot of people dressed up. I mean, it was almost like...
It's true.
I wouldn't say as big as like a Star Wars release, but the amount of people that like were in pink ready to go see this movie was a lot.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see anybody.
You didn't see anyone?
Well, I didn't go to the theater last week.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people in pink.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was like a big event movie almost.
See, that's what's kind of weird about it to me is that I feel like they're betraying their audience by the content of the film, from what I've been told.
Yes, that's not wrong.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It was. It's not surprising given the director, but it was kind of surprising considering it was. I feel like always advertised more as a Barbie movie.
Right. And most of the marketing for that film took place within, I think, the first like 20 to 30 minutes where they're like in Barbie world.
Exactly.
There was not a lot of like, hey, they're going to be in a dark gray depressing scene and Barbie's going to be in pink and people are going to be asking like, why are you dressed so weird? Like the marketing for the film was, look at this musical number.
Yeah.
Do.
The thing is, I don't really have a problem with. I think clearly there are issues with sexism. I think I have a problem with every single man in the real world was portrayed as just like blatant sexist with there no gray area at all.
Yes.
And it was like there was no like that. That's not the norm.
Right.
Like in broad daylight, there's not guys running up to girls and hitting them and stuff like that. That's just not real. That part's not realistic.
In one clip, there was a guy who, like, as soon as she says something, they're like, "Hey, Blondie, give us a smile." And I was like,
Yeah,
no one under the age of 80 has said that in years. Exactly. Like, that doesn't just happen anymore.
Yeah, it was that part alone.
Hey, can I throw out a weird? I know we're running a little over time. Can I tell you one quick crazy conspiracy theory?
Okay.
All right. You know the Lego Movie. Mm-hmm. You know the bad guy is voiced by Will Ferrell.
Oh,
and at the end of the movie, it's revealed that he's a real guy, and this whole thing has been his son playing.
Right.
Well, he has this massive Lego collection, like thousands on thousands of dollars. So you think, this guy's probably pretty wealthy. He's big into Legos, big into toys, right? Who does Will Ferrell play in Barbie? The CEO of a toy company in a suspiciously similar outfit. And some people are saying that this is the beginning of the toy cinematic universe.
That already is a thing Mattel's trying to do.
What?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. I know. I don't think Lego's its own thing. No, but yeah, Mattel is pushing for
Everything
a cinematic
has to
universe.
Be a cinematic
They
universe.
are. Yeah.
You know what? One day we're gonna get Transformers, G.I. Joe, Fast and Furious, the movie, and I'm gonna lose my mind.
Okay. Well.
Okay. Last box office update.
All the Sound of Freedom has overtaken Mission Impossible.
Who called that? I wonder.
Oh, hey. Hi. But that's just domestically, though.
Domestically.
Right. And it's only $17 million behind Indiana Jones as well. Domestic again.
I'm going to get... let me just speak on that for a second.
And then we got to close.
The Mission Impossible part, like, okay, yeah, I see. Like, people said it wasn't quite as good as Fallout. I get it. It's still a blockbuster. The Sound of Freedom.
Was Fallout the one just before this?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that was good.
But Indiana Jones? Like, that's a... To me, that's like, it's not Star Wars, but it's getting there. Like, if you're going to catch an Indiana Jones film at the box office, that's a huge up for Sound of Freedom, in my opinion.
Well, I'm not surprised that it will overtake Indiana Jones because I don't think Indiana Jones is a good movie at all. But Mission Impossible, I think, was a good movie. Not great, like not as great as Fallout, but it was still a good movie. Mm-hmm. So it's phenomenal to see. This is the shifting point in, I think, a lot of media now.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. I'm just thinking, like, from a pure franchise standpoint, like, of what Indiana Jones is, what it represents, like, the fact that good, bad, or indifferent, any Indiana Jones movie may be passed up by Sound of Freedom is, like, that's wild to me. It's an indictment of the box office, but also of...
people voting with their wallets.
100%. 100%. Market share power, baby.
Oh, yeah.
You know why Indiana Jones was bad?
Because Kathleen Kennedy made it.
That's reason one, but I was hoping you would say our catchphrase.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Corporate greed.
Corporate greed.
Corporate greed. Yeah.
That's going to be a t-shirt one day.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it for the first episode of the Part-Time News Network. Oh, God. Long day at work.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, loosen the tie.
Yep.
Hashtag.
Loosen the tie. Hashtag. And just signing off for the Part-Time News Network, I'm Caleb Johnson.
And I'm Michael Belcher.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.